Okay. Good morning, world. What do we have here? Hey, what do we have here? It is Friday morning, and I have a new phone holder that I am testing in the car. So hopefully this is not too bouncy because it does seem to be wobbling a lot. It's one of those extremely rotatable phone holders, and hopefully that doesn't make it too flexible, like too bouncy. Anyway, so it's looking different. This morning, Friday morning, end of the week. Whoop, whoop. This morning I wanted to talk about a couple of articles that I just read on Google News on my phone. The hypocrisy. In one part of Australia, we have, the council basically like being ostracized by the community, protests to protect a much loved tree in the area that the residents all love. And the council saying, no, well, we're removing it because, it's it could be a danger to people. It's like a 40-year-old tree, and it could be a danger to people if it drops limbs, and like somehow I guess the root system or something like that is like creating cracks or something like that in the pathway, like the footpath that's underneath, and so that they can have a nice flat footpath. And they're saying, of course, like, oh, it's what about the people with prams, and what about people with wheelchairs? That's why we're doing it. We're good guys, we're the good people. And so like apparently 400 residents in the area all signed a petition to save this tree. And the person whose like property it sits like right out the front of on the street hired like a professional arborist and things like that to basically make a report about the health of the tree and things like that. There was children drawing pictures and writing poems and taping it to the tree. The residents were making a barricade around it when tradies turned up to, they were being hired by the council to like come and chop it down. The residents like got in the way so that the tradies would just leave. All this sort of stuff. And apparently the council was really wanting the residents, were really wanting for the council to like come to the table with like a compromise, a solution that everybody was happy with. Anyway, so the council, per usual, takes it to court, and when the council takes things to court, very, very likely that it's going to be approved, whatever they stand for, and of course they hire the best of the best lawyers as well, don't they? So it's been proved to take down that tree, right? And you've got even people who are part of the council. like I said before, there was like 400 residents that were like protesting and signing a petition and whatnot to save this tree. And then the council says I think as part of the court documents, there was only one resident who, contacted them in regards to protecting the tree and it not being removed. And even though, other council spokesperson, well, not the spokesperson, but other people who were part of the council said that there was, I forget if it said numerous or if it said hundreds of people contacting in regards to protecting the tree. And also pointing out that councilman was also pointing out, that the council can claim all it wants to, be like basically like tree protectors, right? Nature warriors. But really, I mean, they could be planting 1,000 trees a year, ish, as they claim they are. But they could also be wiping out 1,200 trees per year, for their own development plans, can't they? And that's okay. That's okay, isn't it, for them? They can wipe out trees wherever they want, doesn't matter how old, doesn't matter how significant to the community or to any people. It's as long as if it's in their way of a development that they want to do, for their monetary gain, likely, then they can wipe them out, can't they? And then they would be going backwards in numbers, wouldn't they? If they're only planting like 1,000 trees a year, but they're wiping out 1,200 trees a year, which I know that sounds like a lot, but it's actually very likely. The council does also approve big developers and things like that to do their own projects that wipes out lots of trees and flattens land and all that sort of stuff too, don't they? But they're cool to approve that because the developers, they've got the money to pay for the permits. They've got the money to pay for the removal of those trees. And, I mean, when it comes to, excuse me, when it comes to if you want to remove a tree, I've heard stories before of, there was a guy who even applied to the council wanting to have a tree removed from his backyard that he said posed significant risk, even to life, for his family, that it might drop limbs on the house, or the backyard was also too unsafe for his children to play in because the tree regularly dropped limbs. He was quoted like 50 something, I'm pretty sure it was like that. It was either in the 30s, 40s or 50s, thousands of dollars, to have this tree removed. And really technically the council was even fighting for this guy not to be able to remove it, saying about how it's a particular, because of its size, it's a home for a particular number of birds and things, the wildlife in the area. And I understand, obviously, I understand that, the birds and the animals need trees around. Yes, of course. But I'm just trying to point out, it's okay for big developers who pay tens and tens of thousands of dollars to have trees removed. It's okay for the council when it comes to their plans, their developments, to wipe out trees and flat land. But if it's you can basically forget about it, or you could be really drained of most of your money to remove a tree for your safety. And anyway, so, you know, there's all that. There's all that. And then you've got in another part of Australia, I think maybe it was Perth, you know, another person who was fined like $17,000 for removing a tree. And, you know, the article was talking all about how the council is, you know, cracking down on people who are illegally removing trees off of their property. And look, I totally agree that, you know, people shouldn't be trying to poison or kill off trees that aren't even on their property, and it's for stupid crap like, you know, also they got a better view of the beach or whatever like that. Yeah, of course, you're an idiot. Don't do that, okay? But, like, when it comes to people's properties, you know, the council makes it really hard. And I've spoken about this before. I mean, it's ridiculous that, you know, they charge you so much to remove trees, you know, even to clear, like, land to make it usable to build a house on, that they've said, yes, this is residential, like, let's just say as an example, right? They've said, okay, this land over here, this is going to be classed as residential. You can build on it. Okay, cool. Joe comes along, buys the land, you know, wants to build a house on it. Oh, council, I want to build a house, you know, on this property. Oh, okay, Joe. Well, it's going to cost you around $57,000 to remove the trees that are, you know, in the way of the site, like where you would be building your house. And we're also going to expect you, after you've paid that and removed those trees, built your house, we're also going to expect you to replant, you know, 200 native trees and bushes on your property to make up for it, you know. And I just feel like, of course people do stuff illegally. Of course they remove trees off their own property illegally, because the council makes it too bloody expensive. You know, people are already, like, we know a billion conversations about this. We already know that people are struggling financially, you know, to feed themselves, to home themselves, to get themselves from A to B. Let alone people who are, you know, trying to abide by the rules, trying to get somewhere in life, get ahead in life, and buy property and build a house for their family to live in. Why does the council have to make that so difficult? Why does the council have to charge people so much? And that's on top of everything else you've been charged for your planning permits and your building permits, and you know, you need a permit to fart on your own property, basically. You know, like, it's just, of course, it's a joke. So people are like, well, I can't afford that. I'm just going to, in the middle of the night, bloody cut down this tree, you know? Like, of course that's happening. You know, and like we've just pointed out with the different articles that I was reading this morning, you know, it's okay for council though, isn't it? You know, they can wipe out trees left, right and centre wherever they deem it to be a problem or in the way, and they'll even lie about, you know, how many people, you know, had any kind of complaint about its removal, a tree's removal. You know, I mean, there's even been plenty of times, hasn't there, where, you know, I'm assuming it's council wants to, you know, develop a road or a highway or whatever through a particular part of land in Australia, And the indigenous people are like, oh, no, you can't. Like, this is a, you know, culturally significant tree to us, you know, in place. You can't be taking this tree out and putting a highway down here. You know, wasn't that happening up north of Australia somewhere, like, for ages? Like, I think, like, years. And had, like, people all going up there and, like, camping out, trying to protect this tree. You know, like, yeah, it's just, I don't understand how, like, greed seems to be coming up a lot lately, you know, in topics and in life and things like that, you know, where just the greediness of people, the greediness of government, just seems to be like a really prevalent issue, just coming up a lot lately. And it's just really sad, really, you know, that we live in such a greedy world, you know, like that, you know, really is obviously to the detriment of people as well, isn't it? You know, like, how can government really care about the prosperity of its people when it's making its people have to suffer financially so much? You know, and that's government, you know. Then you've got your corporations that don't give a crap about how much they're charging you for, you know, your utilities or for your food, or just to feed yourself or your family. Then you've got, you know, your privates that are, you know, charging through the nose, you know, for you to, like, home yourself, you know, for you to have a roof over your family's head, you know, like, just how much they are, you know, charging in rent, let alone what the banks are charging for mortgages and with the, you know, interest and everything. I mean, the greed, you know, like, if Earth was guilty, like the people living on Earth was, like, found guilty in, like, you know, God's court of law of, like, just one sin, you know, it would be greed, wouldn't it? Like, as a whole group, yeah, we would be found guilty of greed, collectively, because, I mean, it's pretty appalling how, like, you can't look left or right without seeing greed. And yeah, and anyway, just going to quickly reverse before I finish my thought. Yeah, so anyway, great. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm a bit annoyed because it brings up the council, and I really don't like the council. You know, as I've said in other videos, we've had our own issues with the local council, and yeah, so anything that, like, comes up about council, like, my eyeballs just are, like, you know, focused on. And I just think that there should be, like, better regulation of the council. I feel like there's, like, no regulation of the councils anywhere. And, you know, I'm just sort of sick and tired of, like, the fact that they can, like, seemingly get away with anything everywhere across this country. You know, and even when they wipe out trees that they're not supposed to have wiped out and they get caught for it, you know, then somebody from the council comes out and says, oh, you know, that was a mistake. That was an oversight, and we're going to do our own internal investigation to see what happened there, like how that happened. Yeah, bullcrap. You knew probably exactly what you were doing, and you knew that you would probably be able to get away with just saying that it was an oversight. So you went ahead and did it because those trees were in your way. You know, and no one would know anything about it except for obviously someone from the public or something said something about it, you know, discovered what you'd done. Yeah, just hypocrisy, you know. And then, like, on a larger scale, you can look at, you know, the governments around the world and, you know, they're my air fresheners. You know, the governments around the world are just like, they be clowns all the time too, don't they? You know, like, really, like, even just I heard on the radio before about how it's not the Stedford, but what's the like world, I think it was like the world, is it like the world of Stedford or something like that? It's like that, or Eurovision or something like that maybe. You know, where the each country like gets like singers or performers together to like represent their country on a stage in front of like the world to see, performing, right? And anyway, so since like Israel has registered to be involved for the next one, you know, like several countries have pulled out, you know, like so dramatic. And so it's like school games, isn't it? You know, like it's just like petty. It's like petty behavior. Like if you have like a problem with a country or something like that, like, and you're like a world leader, then like, I don't know, sit down like, you know, adults and figure it out. That like pulling out of a singing competition because Israel has got a, you know, group going in, entering. It's just so childish, you know, and I mean, they be childish all the time, don't they? Look at what Donald Trump is constantly saying. You know, the things that come out that man's mouth are pretty funny. And I'm not poo-pooing Trump, okay? Don't come after me. Don't sue me. You know, I'm just saying, all of them, every single politician really is a bit of a joke. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. You guys all have a great day. You know, give us a like if you think that this car phone holder situation is better, or if we should go back to the dash where I had it. You know, leave a comment, whatever. Otherwise, you know, maybe we'll keep it up. Maybe we'll keep doing it. I was actually propping my phone up with this like strong duct tape stuff, and I was going through a bit of it. So, you know, maybe this is better, so we're not just like wasting a lot of tape in the world. Okay, I'm gonna go. You guys have a great day, and I will see you in another video tomorrow.